like that in prison, you gotta get rid of them. And that's what they did. They shipped me out Alcatraz.
One young man was only 21 years old when he first climbed on the rock. That was a good day for him. His name is Frank Heaney, and he was a guard. In fact, the youngest guard ever to serve on Alcatraz.
The building you see on top of the hill on Alcatraz is the cell house, built by the Army around the turn of the century, later on turned over to the Bureau of Prisons.
They said that the cold water and deadly currents they made Alcatraz virtually escape-proof. Prisoners might break out of the cell block, but getting off the island was an almost impossible challenge. There's no definite proof that any prisoner ever escaped Alcatraz alive. That didn't keep desperate men from trying.
The lower building, a two-story long white building, was the prison industries built around 1940. There were a number of attempted escapes that started from that building. There was one incident where the inmates got to the top of the building. You'll see a small tower there. They were going to attack that tower. The officers spotted him, and he shot and killed one and wounded another, and the other was captured.
Look at the rocks at this end of the island. One escape attempt is right here. At the end, it sends shoots right up my spine. I imagine seeing prisoners swimming towards our boat right now. See, in this story, two men made it out of the cell block and into the water. One inmate was captured and taken back to his cell. He lived to tell the story of his attempt. Partner in the escape wasn't so lucky. I can recall getting in that water. It was like a shock. It was just like suddenly thrust into an icebox. We were going to hide among the rocks until nightfall. And then chill off. But I got caught up with about 15 minutes before dark on every escape. When a man's missing, the Coast Guard comes out, goes around, and the prison boat circle. They both circle, looking all along the shoreline for anybody. I had originally planned to be underwater with the snorkel. I lost what I needed. I lost the snorkel to keep myself underwater. And for that reason, I think I failed on it. If he had been able to hide in too dark, he would have got a long, cold swim ahead of him. I was more or less hoping to go to Point Richmond, which is about, I think, 8 miles or so. And I had a plastic bag to keep myself afloat. The only thing I was concerned, how long could you just stand in that water without being unconscious? I used Navy heavy underwear, and I guess that's why they tell me that's why the guy that was with me died. He drowned because of that heavy underwear. It's like concrete. Alcatraz prison was never completely filled. Those who did end up here considered themselves the elite among convicts.
The prisoners on Alcatraz wasn't like the prisoners in Folsom, San Quentin, and places like that, you know. On the rock, you know, you're up in a... I'm not trying to put my hat on them, but they had a lot of class. You could say they were a higher caliber of criminal. They were more or less professionals, people who were out in the Alcatraz and banks and so forth. Some were for murder, cut above average, the average criminal. Robert Stroud, the Birdman, Al Capone, Mickey Cohen, Frankie Garbo, Machine Gun Kelly. You know, they're just another stupid fool like I was. And that's the way most of the other cons felt about, because everybody was the same on the rock.
As we come around the island, look at the 3-story guards barracks. You'll also see a metal-framed tower in the right corner of the dock. The
tower that you see, the dock tower, it was manned 24 hours a day. It had a large group of weapons, had a 30-06 rifle, 30 caliber rifle, tear gas gun, 38 revolver. Men were shot and killed from that tower.
On the walls of the guards' barracks, you can still see writing from the Indian occupation of 1969 to 1971. Look for the words Indian land and Indians welcome. A group of 89 Native Americans claimed the island, held out there for 2 years. Historian John Martini is here to explain what happened.
They claimed Alcatraz under an old treaty that said that male members of the Great Sioux Nation could homestead unused excess federal property. It was the first time in nearly a century when Indians of all tribes had gathered together for a common purpose.
In the end, the Indians were forced off the island. They were probably the only inhabitants of Alcatraz ever to leave unwillingly. For everyone else who ever lived there, getting off the rock was an obsession.
You cannot take a man away from him.
Alcatraz is now part of the Golden Gate National Recreation Area. It attracts more visitors every year than any other national park.